Hi, this is Lisa with Joyful Tumblers Design. Today I'm going to make a 10-ounce double wall stainless steel wine glass with a crown. This is a Louis Vuitton inspired. So let's get started. I'm going to start out, I had painted my cups a brown. I used a glossy. I wish I would have used a matte because the Mod Podge is a little harder to go on. But I taped off a V. And I'm going to put the champagne glitter from Hobby Lobby with Mod Podge. And then I was looking at my zipper that I actually bought at Hobby Lobby. I want to cut off the fabric and just use a zipper part of it. And I just use regular Mod Podge. Any kind would do. I just put in a little container. It was a coaster mold I had made playing around, and it actually does pretty well because it dries. You can peel it right out. I'm just using a foam brush to apply the Mod Podge. Of course, I got it all over my fingers as usual. I'm a very messy crafter. I was getting a paper towel. I'm just going to paint the little V part of it. With that glossy paint, like I said, it kind of slips off. So I would use matte in the future. You just got to put it on a little thicker, I guess. You try to get it as smooth as possible. Less lines is best. But I glop it on first and then I try to wipe it off. But with, like I said, with that gloss, it's kind of hard, so you gotta do your best. You do what you gotta do. All right, and I'm gonna dump that champagne glitter from, like I said, from Hobby Lobby. Tap off the excess, and then I take a brush too, and I will sweep off the brown. And on this tumbler, I like I said, it is spray painted it. On the bottom, it has a rubber seal, so I wasn't worried about the bottom if you saw that it was exposed. Dumping my excess back into my jar. And I'm going to go ahead and do this next one. I'm going to speed it up so you don't have to. I usually, during this video, I've sped up like the second part or whatever, so it's not so boring to watch. So there's that. Next, I'm going to do the second color, which is expresso. I'm going to remove those tape lines to expose the V. And it gives a nice crisp. You make sure it dries. I think I only did one coat of that on there. I didn't have to get a second coat, but I let it dry for a good probably hour. And I expose that line. It's nice and crisp. Wiping off any excess, of course. And that's where I'm going to put the zipper. And there's the expresso from Hobby Lobby. And since I don't have the tape line, I'm going to kind of use that glitter line. It gives a little edge, so you can kind of like smoosh up against it to get, so you don't go over into that champagne color. But remember, you're putting a zipper on it, so if you get a little bit over, it's okay. I just kind of smoosh it up to the edge and then wipe out. I'm glopping it on. It looks kind of crazy. Just being very mindful not to go over. But like I said, that glossy paint I sprayed on it wasn't a good choice. But like I said, I'm doing what I got to do. Working with what I got. Alright, so I'm just I'm going to do the top part first and then do the stem next. If I was thinking ahead, I would have put a wand in there and did the whole thing, but I wasn't thinking ahead. These zippered cups, there's so many things you could possibly do. This is my first ones ever doing it, and I have plans for others, but I got so many ideas now. I was very, very, very intimidated about this zipper thing. I thought, no way am I ever going to do it. And then a friend of mine asked for one, so I'm going to make it for her. Again, going up against that champagne line, using it as a guide. It's a little, like I said, there's a little ridge there, so you're not going over into that. Trying to smooth out as much as possible. And if you got to do a second coat of glitter on the espresso, it's okay too. Painting it that brown color really helps minimize that double coating on colors similar to this that I've done. I've noticed that if I leave it white, then you have little white spots. You got to do it again. So doing that doing that primary coat of the color that's closest to what you're using is so much easier. Now those lines are not smooth, and I believe that one side that's closest to you, definitely I had to redo. But I'm just dumping it on. All right. If y'all are still watching this, if you want to give me some love and share on the YouTube, I'd like to grow my YouTube channel so I can do lives and do more tutorials if you like what you see. I also have a Facebook, Joyful Tumblers Design, and Instagram, TikTok, and Etsy. All right, so I'm just tapping off the excess, and I'm going to dump that espresso back into its container. Very poorly, apparently. All right, I'm going to put some Mod Podge on that second one and go through again. Sped it up. I decided to put a little music in the background. I hope that's okay. It is a cover band for YouTube, Christian music. It's better than just hearing nothing. All right, dumping it on. All right, I'm going to put those in a wand and do the stems. Make sure you don't miss any spots. Okay, so let's get those stems. Get that bottom part. that edge. Like I said, there's that rubber stopper that goes on the bottom of it. Has a little lip over it. Get the stem. Make sure there is no spots. And before I epoxy these, I'm going to brush off any excess, of course. And then you make sure the Mod Podge is dry, of course. Just brush it off and then spray it with 2 times crystal clear Rust-Oleums. That way those two colors don't shift into each other. And then when I epoxy them, I make sure I epoxy one color at a time pretty much, to make sure. Now I look at my gloves to see if there was any color. I'm going to do the expresso part first. Kind of flood coat it a little bit. I'm pretty confident it's not going to move right at this point, but like I said, you always need to be careful, especially around the stem and the bottom part of this cup. That's when maybe sometimes that crystal clear doesn't always cover it, so you may get a stray. If you do, you can pull it out. I just dip my finger and just kind of wipe around the stem and around it. I'm trying not to get too much on the bottom due to the rubber stopper. But just wiping around. Okay, so now I'm going on that champagne part. Double checking. And you're just brushing it on smooth. Yeah, time for the second one. I'm going to speed it up for time's purposes. right, now time for the decals. I printed out a pattern I got a while back and put it out on one, like a 12 by 12. And initially I started cutting like for bigger pieces, but then I kind of changed my path and decided to cut them in two to single lines. It depends. I'm just looking at my zipper, seeing about where it's gonna lay. Like I said, I did it bigger pieces at first, and then I changed my mind. Ultimately ended up doing single lines and then doing the little stars that go in between. I did them separately last, towards the end anyways. I love how you start out a project and change course, but that's how it happens. So there I'm starting with what, 2-3 lines. And I'm just removing the backing. This foil or this vinyl is just a gold. Hindsight, I don't even know if that's a word. Anyways, had I thought about what I was going to do with the crown, I would have made this a brighter gold actually. But my friend liked the gold, and that's why I ended up using the gold crown. But for future, I will use a bright foil versus this lighter little off color. But like I said, she liked it, so just kind of lining it up. And then anytime I do any kind of cups like this, I generally lay them down and I look at them and see that they're crooked, and I remove a jillion of them. You just kind of go what it looks like. With this curve, it made a little more challenging on the decals. So ultimately I did the first top part and then waited for the curve later. But and if I would have thought ahead, that's what I would have done. But like I said, you change courses all the time when you're doing this kind of stuff. And this transfer tape, I think it's by Craftopia. I like using it for these cups, but you generally can't use it after. But I like it. It's able to pull it off, but when you know most transfer tape, you can reuse. Not necessarily this, so I use this only specifically for this kind of cup. So I'm just looking at it and again going down to one line. And then I'll put the stars in later, like I said. And if you're, removing some. If your decals don't lay straight, take it off and just redo it. It's no big deal. So I'm just looking at it. See, I haven't put all the stars in there. Went ahead, like I said, split them into ones. And if your little dots in between are missing, don't stress. I used to stress out a lot. You can just put it in there later. See, that transfer tape comes off wonderful, but you can't reuse it. And there is never an exact cup. I made 2 of these and they were totally different. I mean, generally the same, but totally different. Sometimes you're a little off on placing your decals, and so, I don't know. So there I'm putting little stars. removing some those original stars that I put on. Kind of filling in the spots, double checking if the little dots are there. Ultimately, I noticed when I was looking at this video, I actually missed a dot and had to put it in later. Even though you look at them, I go line by line to make sure, and you still miss them. But you can add them later. I've had in the past where actually one lifted up completely, and I had to take it completely off and put it on. I used to, like I said, I used to freak out. Not anymore. All right, I'm kind of putting them on the stem. Excuse me. All right, slowed it down a little bit so you can see. And there's really, I'm trying to keep in with the pattern, but I just kind of did what I thought fit. I followed the V. I decided because I want to put the LV on first. I wanted the point to go down towards it. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason. You just kind of I lost my dot, putting it back on, or trying to. Using my little, I guess I'll wait to put the dot in later. That wasn't the dot, I forgot. Just kind of lining up with the other side. I normally on these LVs, I usually bring up my transfer tape the other way. That way the bottom part of the L comes up. Because I couldn't tell you how many times I've ripped that design. And put little stars on it. Double checking to see if I have some misplaced areas, which I did, messing with it. Didn't like the way it lined up. Kind of filling spots. Looking for my dots. There was a dot missing. And there's that fallen dot. Alright, again looking at my zipper because I'm stressing out about putting this on. Like I cut away all the fabric as best as I could. There might have been a little bit left over, but the part of the zipper goes to the bottom of the V, of course. And the zipper is not functional. You're gonna epoxy it. You're gonna UV attach it to it with some resin, and then you're gonna epoxy over that. So it's for decoration purposes. What a mess. And then in the champagne part, I'm going to put some initials. Excuse me. All right, next part is attaching the zipper. I want to apologize. My phone storage filled up and I had to use my old phone. It was cloudy and the phone was broke. So apologize. Using the zipper. And then we're going to use a UV light. There I've cut the zipper and cut off most of the fabric. And I'm going to use this stuff from Michael's. It's UV resin. It's in a nail polish, about $5. And then this UV light, we cut the bottom part of it so we can put it directly onto a cup. Like I said, this is my first time ever using this stuff. I don't know the right or wrong way to use it. I just kind of started covering the area where I wanted to put it on. Initially, I wanted to attach heavily to the zipper part, the V bottom part of it. So I put it on, held it on there. Now, right now, it's not, permanent, but once you get that light on it, you want to make sure that that light is, stays, away from your UV resin. I held it over on top of it. And I think the light stays on for 60 seconds. Don't have your finger holding an area what's wet because it'll be attached permanently. So I was just kind of seeing if it's on. It is. And then I'm just going to kind of... Oh, it wasn't attached permanently. So I'm just making sure. Let's do it again. Get that UV resin away from that light. Let's try this again. Yeah, I think it was good. So now, I wouldn't have cut this. I shouldn't have cut this then. I should have waited, but I did. Because I would have cut it after I attached it. Because I had a little difficulty keeping it up there. But like I said, you learn as you go. I'm just painting the line and painting on top and just trying to make sure that that zipper is pretty well saturated. think what I would have done on that top part, instead of leaving it long before, you know, I cut it, and then I would have, the last portion of it, just come back just a little bit and cut it down. That way it wasn't so rough in the end. Because it was like it's kind of blunt up against the cup itself. So, like I said, lesson learned. You learn as you go. Learn from those mistakes. Try not to do them again. See, it was kind of rough, but I'm gonna try to. I sanded it down, you know, when we sanded it off, clean up the edges and stuff, but. Trying to figure out how I'm gonna attach it, but I think I use the scissors. Again, if you watch this as long as you have, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, send it to all your friends and family. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to replug in something real quick. All right, so let's get that top portion on there. I'm coating it up. Yeah, there's like those scissors. And the scissors didn't attach, thank God. Again, I apologize for the clarity of this video. Doing videos, I figured out that you got to have lots of space on your phone. Okay. Fix that bottom other side. I almost didn't put this portion of the video in because I had such difficulty downloading, but I decided to go ahead and try. It's taken me a week to do it, but I did do it because I knew this is very important. Okay, I'm speeding it up a little bit. I'm going to cover it really good. Just making sure that sucker is not coming off. I don't know if you need to do this, but I wanted to make sure. Okay. I feel comfortable that it's adhered properly. Okay. Now we're going to epoxy this with a better video. And when you epoxy, you want to make sure you get really good on those zipper and around it. And I concentrate on that. Like I said, I'm concentrating on those areas really well. I'm going around the lip, around it. And right there at the top, that's where I missed that dot. I didn't even see it until I was watching this video. On the video, I found it later, of course, but see, even after all this, I can put it. You're going to put another coat on there anyway, so it didn't hurt it. Concentrate on that stem and the bottom, of course, because your vinyl, you haven't covered the vinyl yet. Or I haven't. I was worried that once you put a lot of epoxy around that zipper that it might drip. It does get a little bit of buildup on it, but it really didn't do a drip. I kind of washed it and babied it for a little bit. But you want to get up there and make it as permanent as possible. That's some excess I'm trying to remove. Again, concentrating on that zipper, just making sure. All right, my dog is snorting over here. I apologize. What is it? And if you get any epoxy inside your lip of your cup, you can scrape it away after it's cured. Some people put Vaseline and stuff in there and put tape. I'm not worried. It comes out pretty easy. All right, on to the second one. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. All right, now we're ready to attach the crown. And this, like I said, this is a 10-ounce double-walled stainless steel wine glass. But these crowns fit on 20 ounces, but it fit fairly perfect on this 10-ounce. And I just kind of centered it. See where the has two little attachments on it in the center. And I just looked to see where I wanted to put it on the cup, and I wanted the cup in the center. So there's the bottom part that I put on there. So I want those two sides to be in the center. Again, I'm going to use the UV resin and a light. And then they can put a straw down in it. I made sure the lid worked. I'm just going to paint around it. I don't know how fast this stuff stays dry or active. So I just kind of went around it, and then I thought, well, I can always attach again more areas. And so I was going to put it on the lid itself too. And then I also found, and you'll see it later on, where I got a little bit too much on one side. I was able to chip it off. It dries fairly clear, but if you got like a lot of it or whatever, it'll look lumpy. Like around the zipper part, there was like, it was fairly clear where you couldn't see where I had put it on. So I'm going to put it back in the center like I wanted it. Like I said, it doesn't lay on there perfectly, but enough where I can attach it. I was pressing down as I was twisting, pretty much, and then it seemed like it was adhered, so. Oh, it wasn't. Let's do it again. Like I said, I don't know how long you're supposed to keep it on there. And I went along the outside. And I didn't do the full part on that side. I just did it on concentrate on areas. And I was thinking that it wasn't, I'd put too much and not enough light on it at the time, so did small sections. Alright, we're getting close to being done. Again, thank you for watching this video as long as you have, and bearing with me with all of my issues. And again, if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up, share it, give the love. Let's share, let's give all our crafters that are doing this, give them some love. Or if you happen to know somebody, just like their video and share it. You can come over to Facebook, Joyful Tumblers Design, my Etsy, Joyful Tumblers Design, Instagram. Okay, speeding it up a little bit. There's the area I was cleaning up, and it just, like I said, it just scraped right off. And I put, of course, a little bit more. I just wanted to make sure I didn't chip off anything that wasn't supposed to be chipped off. Double checking that lid, make sure I didn't glue it. And guys, that looks like it's pretty much done. It lays on there fairly straight. Put it on your cup. And there she is. Isn't she a beauty? Alright guys, appreciate you so much for watching. Thank you guys. Y'all have a blessed day. And if you like this, give it some love to see some more. Bye guys.